This question is from the Swordfish009. When Pulse was announced to most likely launch in mid-May, the price of Hex went from like 8 cents to 20. After it didn't work out that way, it went down to the current 3 cents. Wouldn't it be way more likely to hold liquid and or staked Hex and expect a 10x, meaning it going to 30 cents upon Pulse announcement? And then wouldn't you have an extra 10x ready to insert into Pulse on launch day? My thinking, $100 turns to $1,000 in Hex, then put it into Pulse day 1 or week 1, and then wait for that juicy 25 to 50x in the first 1 to 3 months. So 1,000 becomes to 25,000, 50,000 in Pulse. You're saying a 10x on launch, but back in May, the price of Hex was 8 cents. And when people assumed Pulsechain was launching, within the next couple of days, the price went from 8 cents to 20 cents, which is like a 2.4x. So I'm not sure why you'd expect a 10x at this point if, let's say, the Pulsechain launch would be announced. So yes, in theory, should everything that you're saying, should the scenario play out where it goes from 3 cents to 30 cents during launch, yes, that would be the move. But the problem is that there's just no way of knowing how it's going to play out. Like, there's just too many things we don't know. How Hex is going to perform once Pulsechain launches is heavily dependent on what market conditions will be when Pulsechain launches. Will there be high inflation? So therefore the Feds will continue raising interest rates. In that case, you know, the likelihood of even like a 2x at launch is, I'd say, pretty low. Or maybe the Feds go risk on again and they start slashing interest rates. And also, like, even if, let's say, it does a 10x at launch, let's say Hex goes down to under a penny, it's not going to be 30 cents. It'll only be like a 2x from the price of buying it now. So that's why I just don't like the idea of buying Hex, you know, and waiting for the Pulsechain launch. It's kind of playing roulette. It's kind of gambling. So yes, the price of Hex is down 90% now. So I think it's a great buying opportunity, but I don't think it's a good buying opportunity in terms of buying and waiting for Pulsechain to launch so you could trade your copy for Pulsechain and PulseX. So while yes, you may come out on top, you may also lose a lot of money. For example, if you bought Hex in May expecting launch to happen, you'd be down 60, 70%. You'd have 60 to 70% less of the buying power that you have now. So while yes, it may go well for you, it also might go wrong for you. And essentially it's gambling and you're really putting your buying power at risk for Pulsechain and PulseX, which is why I am a big proponent of the stable coins, which like Hex get copied over into PRC20s, which you can trade your copy for Pulsechain or PulseX at launch. And also you are not at risk of the volatility of the market. Once you do that, you could bridge in your USDC, which is going to have the same value that it has now, provided that it keeps its peg. Another thing is that pretty much everybody plans on swapping their copied over PHEX for Pulsechain or PulseX. And that obviously kind of adds to the likelihood that you're not going to get a good ratio because everyone's doing it. So being that neither I nor anyone could really tell you how the price of Hex at launch will compare to the price of Hex now, I think your best bet is to, one, with the amount of money that you plan on purchasing Hex and staking it, you should dollar cost average. And with what you plan on buying Pulsechain and PulseX, I think you should put those into stable coins and leave it in your MetaMask and just swap the free copy you get on the house and then bridge in your stable coins and purchase Pulsechain and PulseX. And you talk about a run up at launch. While yes, that is likely just from the hype and that people want to get Hex so they could get it copied over, we don't know what the price of that pump will be in comparison to what Hex is now. If Hex drops enough, meaning if Hex goes down to a cent, a run up, meaning a 2, 3x, means that the price of Hex will still be lower than what it is when you purchase it now. So, I mean, there's no way of knowing what the price of Hex is going to be at launch, how much it's going to run up at launch, and what that run up will be in comparison to the price now. So I think your best bet is just to not put yourself at risk of the volatility of the market with what you plan on purchasing Pulse and PulseX, because they're excellent tokens, in my opinion, not financial advice. They got great game theory. They have a founder with a proven track record, and they are likely, in my opinion, not financial advice, going to give you life-changing returns over the next couple of years. And it would be really a shame if you take all your money that you'd be using for buying Pulsechain and PulseX and then seeing the value of it diminish 60, 70% and you being left with considerably less buying power and therefore less returns in the next bull market. So to summarize, I'd say in terms of buying Hex for swapping into Pulsechain and PulseX, it's a gamble. I don't think it's a good idea to gamble on your buying power with an opportunity of this magnitude, with the opportunity of these new projects that are coming from Richard Hart with Pulsechain and PulseX. But with regards to what you plan on buying Hex with, which I think should be a third of the cash you have to buy crypto, I think dollar cost averaging now is an excellent idea, because at the end of the day, I believe, not financial advice, that Hex is going to go up over time. It's an excellent project. And if you stake it, you will not only get the yield, which is an additional on average 38% a year, but you're also going to get that all copied over onto Pulsechain. So I think while yes, it's an excellent time to DCA into Hex, it is not a good idea to DCA with the money that you plan on buying Pulsechain and PulseX. Being that I cannot tell you the future, I cannot tell you future price performance, I don't think it would be ethical for me to tell you to take a chance with that buying power. But Swordfish, thank you for your question and thank you for your insight. You've been providing some great content in the comment section. I really appreciate it. Please like, subscribe, and follow me on Twitter. Thank you.